this is Laura. Welcome back to my channel. A while back I did a video on how to do right angle weave netting, and we made these earrings. And they are made with 11 seed beads, and these earrings are beaded on both sides. But as I'm getting ready for my shows coming up in the fall, I've started doing some bracelets made the same way, although they're not beaded on the side that sits on your skin. This is one I made 5 rows across with 3mm pearls and 4mm bicones down the middle. I've made some thinner ones, and this is one I'm going to show you today. This is 3 rows across, and the bicones are down the middle, and the little pearls are on the side. So if that's something you'd like to see, please hit the like button, come back, and we'll get started. Okay, let's get started. So for this bracelet, we're going to use some 11 seed beads. These are Miyuki, and let's see what colors. It's bronze metallic, and I've got some 3mm pearls and some 4mm bicones. I've got 2 jump rings. I don't know if you can see all of this. 2 wire guards and a box clasp. That's what I'm using for this bracelet. And I've threaded my needle with 8-pound fire line. This is smoke. Comfortable amount of thread, maybe a wingspan or so. And I've got a size 11 beading needle. So I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to move these out of the way for now because the netting is all done in seed beads. So I'm going to start with the 11 seed beads, and we're going to pick up 8. Got 8 seed beads. My needle's a little, as you can tell, sometimes I bend my needles, but there's 8 seed beads on there. I'm gonna bring those down. I'm not using a stop bead, but please feel free if you need one, because what I'm gonna do right away is sew these into a circle by going up all of them again. Pulling through. And then I'm going to sew through all of them again. And I go past that tail thread. And I'm going to sew up these 2 side beads. So in right angle weave, we like to think as, when you're using 2 beads, these 2 would be the top, side, bottom, and side. So we've got 8 on here, and this is what we have. We've got our first unit, and you're going to pick up 6 because you're sharing a side with the first unit. So you pick up 6 now. Coming out of the top of this 11 here, you're just going to go through the bottom like that and pull through. And I like to reinforce. Okay, So we've got 2 units on. So remember, these bracelets are 3 across, 3 rows across. So I'm going to go through and do each row and show you how I attach the next row onto it. So I'm basically going to do this for the length of my first row. I'll do some more. Right. Pick up 6 more. 6 more 11. Oh, you're coming out of the top. You're going to go through the bottom of that group of 2 that make up the side of that unit. Pull through. And then I'm going to sew around. When I'm doing right angle weave, I like to reinforce once before I move on. So I'm going to sew around. Coming out of these 2 side beads here, we're going to put our next unit on. Six more. Coming out of the top of that group of 2, go through the bottom. Now we've got 4 units. Reinforcing it once before I move on. And I want to be coming out of this side unit here. Pick up 6 more. Coming out of this top bead on the side here, go through the bottom. Now we got 5 units. I'll do 1 more, and then I'm going to go off and do the length of my first row and come back and show you how I add the next row. Okay, we're coming out of the top of this side unit here, the top bead of this group of 2. Pick up 6. And 6. Go through the bottom of that group of 2. All right. I'm going to reinforce, then I'm just going to move on, and I'll be back once I've got the first row of my bracelet done. Okay, so I've done the first row of my bracelet, and don't worry if the units don't look, real symmetrical right now, because once you finish your netting for the whole bracelet and start putting on your pearls and bicones, they're going to look pretty perfect. So you'll see as we go on. So I'm coming out of the top of this bead here. Now, if I was going to add more rows on, I would just go through this group of 2 and add 6 more and keep going on. But now I'm going to start sewing this way. We're going to start putting on our second row. I'm going to pick up 6 seed beads. coming out of the top of that bead there. We're going to go through the bottom like that. And so we've got our first unit on our second row. And now we're just going to start sewing this way. And so we used 6 more beads because we shared this side with this unit. And now we're going to sew around till we get to this group of 2, which are the bottom of this unit. And we're going to use these 2. So all we're going to need to put on are 4 more seed beads. So I'll sew around and show you what I mean. I know these beads are real little, so I'm trying to, not go out of frame, but still, when I get to where I need to show you, I'm trying to pull the work up to the camera. So I'm going to I've sewn around, and now I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to sew up this group of 2. So we're going to use these 2 and these 2 to make our next unit. So now we just need to pick up 4 11-ohs, and we're going to go into the side like this to make our next unit and pull through. I'm going to sew up these 2. And then I'm going to hop over, whoop, that's 3. I just want to go through those 2 here. I'm going to flip my work so that I can show you better. So I want to come out those 2, and I'm going to pick up four more using these 2 units and these 2 to make the next unit. I'm going to go in to those 2 like that. I'm going to go up those 2. I'm going to go over 2, then down these 2, and start the process over for the next unit. So now I'm coming out of these 2, I'm going to go through those 2 beads, which are the top, or you could say the side of the unit on the first row. Got my thread caught there. Okay. So I'm coming out of these beads here, these 2, the side one. I'm going to pick up 4 more. I want to go through these 2 to make the next unit. And once you do it, when you do it hands-on, you'll learn it easier. It's so much easier to learn once, at least for me. I'm a hands-on learner. And feel free to rewind the video and just go back if you need to. So we're coming up these 2. I'm going to use these 2 beads and these 2 beads to make the next unit, picking up 4. I'm going to go into this group of 2. So now we've got 5 units on of our second row. I'm going to sew this way. Oh, hold on here. And then I'm going to sew down these 2. And then up these 2. We're going to put our next unit on now. And we're going to use these 2 beads and these 2 beads. So we're going to pick up 4. And go in the top of that group of 2 there. I'm going to sew up these 2, up these 2. I'm going to use this group of 2 and this group of 2 to make the next unit. Pick up 4. I'm going to go into this side here. Sew around. And you'll just, you know, hold your work however is most comfortable for you. I'm trying to film what I'm doing, so sometimes it's not that comfortable, but I want you to see. So I'm going to go up these 2, put one more unit on, pick up 4, coming out this group of 2, we're going to go around and through that group of 2. So that's what you're going to do all the way down. You're just going to sew around, pick up 4 beads, go around, and continue till you get all the way down for your second row. Then what you're going to do for your third row is the same thing we did for the second row. So feel free to rewind. The first unit will be 6 seed beads, and you're going to attach it to the group of 2 on the side there. And then you'll start, you know, all the way down 4. So I hope that makes sense. Get that done, come back, and we'll go on to the next step. So I've done all 3 rows, and this is what my netting looks like. And as you can see, some of the units still are a little bit not symmetrical, but like I said, once we start putting the pearls and bicones on, they will look great. So this is the fun part. I'm going to start putting on the pearls. And I'm coming out of this group of 2 seed beads. I'm going to pick up 1 pearl. And because I'm coming out of the top of this one, I don't want to sew in the top of the next. I want to go through the bottom of this group of 2 like that. And then you're going to pull through. And that's going to lock that pearl in that unit there. And as you can see, the units are going to start to look more uniform and symmetrical. So I'm coming out of the top of this group of 2 here. I'm going to kind of move this up here. Pick up another pearl. Coming out of this top bead, I'm going to go into this group of 2 from the bottom, like that. So I'm coming out of this group of 2. I'm going to pick up another pearl. I'm going to go through the top. I'm coming out of the top of this group of 2. I'm going to go through the bottom of the next group of 2. And see how they sit in there so nicely. Now, granted, this is a very time-consuming piece, and the wider you make it, it takes more time, but the results are so beautiful. So I'd like to have a couple of these type of bracelets on my Etsy shop and when I do shows. I'm coming out of that group of 2. I'm going to go through the bottom of this group of 2. Pick up another pearl. Coming out of this top of that group of 2, I'm going to go through the bottom of this group of 2. And this is where you can kind of straighten out the seed beads as you're placing the pearls and the bicones in. So pick up another pearl. Coming out of the top here, I'm going to go through the bottom of the next group of 2. Pick up another pearl. Coming out of this group of 2, on the top bead there, we're going to go through the bottom. And make sure that sits nicely in that little unit. Pick up another pearl. Coming out of the top of this group of 2, we're going to go in through the bottom of that group of 2. Pick up a pearl. Coming out of this top group of 2, go through the bottom of the next group of 2. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way down, and then I will hop over to the next row, show you how I add down the next row. Okay, so I'm coming down to the end of this first row, putting my pearls on, and I'll go through the last few with you. Whoop, I accidentally got 2 pearls on my needle. Pick up another pearl. Coming out of the top of this side group of 2, we're going to go through the bottom of the 2 right across. Like that. I'll pull through. Okay, so we've got 1 row completely done with the 3mm pearls. So I'm coming out of the top here. I'm just going to sew up that group of 2 like that. And so we're going to now hop over to this one and go down the other side. So I'm coming out of the top of this group of 2, pick up a pearl, go through the bottom of the group of 2 directly across. Okay, now I want to get my needle in a position to start going that way, so I'm just going to sew around. There's my tail thread, so I'm going to keep that on to put the wire guard on that side when I'm ready to add the clasp. So I'm going to sew up these 2. And now I'm set up to start going down this side and put all my pearls on this side. And then in the middle, we're going to have bicones. So I'm coming out of the top of this set of 2, pick up a pearl, go through the bottom of that group of 2 directly across. Coming out of the top here, I'm going to pick up a pearl. Oh, that didn't want to go on my needle. Go through the bottom of this group of 2. So it's basically, you know, the same thing, just we hopped over, did this little corner here, and now we're coming up and doing this other row on this side. So let's do a few more. I really like the right angle weave netting because you could do a lot of different things. You could even put like 4mm pearls in. You can experiment with different size beads. Usually 3 or 4mm will fit nicely in one of these units. And then you can make it thicker. You can make it just 2 all pearls. You could make, you know, bicones around the 2 edges and then pearls down the middle. Just have fun with it. Coming out of this group of 2, we're going to go into the bottom of that group of 2. I'm just going to straighten out my seed beads a little bit. There we go. Pick up a pearl. Coming out of the top of those 2. Pops that pearl right into that unit. Do a couple more, and then I'm going to go off and come back when I'm putting the bicones in. Straighten this group of 2 out here. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to go all the way down, and then I'll be back when I need to add the bicones. Okay, so it's time to put our bicones on. I've sewn the pearls all around the perimeter of the bracelet, and when I was coming down here, I just added the wire guard while I was down there, and now I'm going to put on the bicones right down the middle, and then I'll use the tail thread, and I'll show you how I put the wire guard on. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with the pearls. We're coming out of the top of this set of 2 beads. We're going to pick up a bicone, and we're going to go through the bottom of the next group of 2 right across. And that sits that really nice in between these 2 pearls. So pick up another bicone, coming out of the top there, gonna go through the bottom. Pick up a bicone, come through, going out of the top there, we're gonna go through the bottom of the set of 2 right across. Pick up another bicone, coming out of the top of this set of 2 on that unit, we're going to go through the bottom of the set of 2 right across. Pick up a bicone, coming out of the top, go through the bottom 2 of this group of 2. Pick up another bicone, coming out of this bead, we're going to go through the bottom and then through the other one of that set of 2 right across. And you can see, look how pretty that is. The bicones are faceted, so they really hit the when the light hits it, they really kind of sparkle, and it's really pretty. Pick up a bicone, coming out of this top bead here, go through this bottom and up that group of 2. Pick up a bicone, you got it, coming out of this group of 2, gonna go through the bottom of this group of 2. And I'm going to do that all the way down, and then I'll show you how I put the wire guard on. Okay, so I've sewn in all of my bicones, and I came down to this end and I sewed in my thread, tied some knots, and I threaded the tail thread and sewn around till I'm coming out of these 2 right in the middle there. And we're just going to pick up the wire guard. Go through that one side of it, come down the other, and pull the thread through, making sure to keep the thread in that little groove there. And then I'm going to sew back into this group of 2. See if you can see what I'm doing. And that sits that wire guard right on this group of 2 seed beads. And then I'm going to sew up one more time. Whoop, and reinforce this. You want to have at least 2, probably about 2 passes through a wire guard. You don't want too many, because if you have too many, then the thread may start coming away from this little groove here. I'm going to go down. All right. So we've got our wire guard on both sides. I'm just going to sew in my threads, tie a few knots, burn it off, and then we'll put the clasp on. Okay, so I've got the wire guards on, and I went ahead and put this end of the clasp on just in order to keep the time down a little bit on this video, because I know it's a long one. And I'm just going to show you. I did the same thing on this side as I'm going to show you on the other side. You pick up your jump ring, open it up like a door. You're going to thread that through that wire guard and put the other end of your clasp on. Close that up. There we go. There's our bracelet. Okay, so this is what our bracelet looks like on. I'm loving how the green really pops next to the metallic bronze color. So I hope you do attempt this. Like I said, it is a lot of work, but it's worth it because I think this is such a pretty stitch to make with the right angle weave netting, and then you could fill it in however you like. So if this was helpful, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and you'll be notified of any time I upload a new video. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.